Hello everyone, and welcome back to World of Warplanes. And this time we finally get to review the Dornier DO335 A1 P-File. Yes, P-File. P-File as in, I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce it. That's how everyone tells me to pronounce it. That's how I've seen pronounced and heard it pronounced. So that's what we're going to say. We're just going to say P-File. If it's wrong, I'm sorry, but that's how I think it is. Anyway, regardless of how you pronounce it, I know that it translates to arrow in German, and so, yes, the Dornier 335 is actually the arrow. The arrow. And I think that that sums up how you want to play this plane. It's very fast, and it's got, well, it shoots like an arrow. It works. I don't know how else to describe it. That just works. It's a flying arrow. It hits like an arrow too. But anyway, it's been a long time since I've been working on these missions forever. Finally got it a week or two ago. I think it was about a week ago. Yeah, I got it last weekend. Completed the missions for it. So if you look, I went through, got every single one of these missions with distinction. If you want to know more about the missions and what I had to do in order to get that, go ahead and check the description or something. I should probably have it linked somewhere, the video that I did on it. But yes, I got the Dornier, and then this past weekend, I actually got the XF-15C as well. I completed those missions with distinction. And so now I have the XF-15C, so the eagle-eyed of you might have seen it was in my hangar already. So the review of this plane will be coming out maybe in a week or so. I want to make sure I understand the plane. First impressions, the Dornier is better. First impressions. But we'll see. I haven't really played this one a whole lot. But I want to go through the history of this plane real quick, and then we'll start jumping into the statistics. So, actually, I don't think there's a way to see the description of history on this plane. Usually, you click on it, and it pops up right here as a little description, but I don't think you can get that with Germany, or with this plane, because it's not actually in the tech tree. So I'm not really sure how to see what Wargaming says about the history of this plane. But I will say what I remember seeing from Zem's video on Shrike Gaming. He basically said this plane was actually built, if I remember correctly. There was only a couple built, but he said it was incredibly fast, way faster than the Mustangs, surprisingly. But, you know, it's actually not too surprising because Germany actually had quite a few prop planes built by the end of 1945, or by the end of the war at least, that actually outperformed the Mustangs in terms of speed, and substantially. Not just jet planes, because of course they had those, and those were faster than Mustangs, but in terms of raw propeller-driven planes, prop planes, there were a couple. This one I know is one of them. The TA-152 was one of them, but it's possible there were a couple others. The TA-152 is the one that I know quite well about in terms of speed. So that one for sure. This one also performed faster. And that's because this plane has two engines in it, or two propellers. It's got one in the front to pull it, and one in the back to push it. And this combination worked out very well. It made the plane incredibly fast. So, with that being said, let's jump into the game, or not the gameplay, but the statistics, because let's see how it performs. Wargaming claims that this has accurate long-range, large-caliber guns. Alright, so let's check the guns out. You've got 130 and two 15s. I don't know. There's a lot of people that I hear compare this plane's guns to the ME-209. So I want to check that out real quick. Let's pop up our ME-209. Just for comparison's sakes, you have on the 209A, you have 220s, so the Dornier has a little bit smaller caliber guns, and it's also got 130. So this 30mm right here also is on the TA-152, but the TA-152 gets 3 of these, and that's all it gets. The 209A gets 220s and this 30. So just note that this gun is also on the TA-152 when we're doing this comparison. Okay, so here's the 30mm. Let's check it out. And the 215s. Alright. So, first thing you should notice is that this gun is essentially the same. Autocannon 30mm MK103H, MK103H, but this is from 1945. So this is actually a little bit later version of it. So it's not the identical gun, but for all intents and purposes, it is. The only difference really is you get a little bit more range, which is actually incredible because the range on the guns for the 209A and TA-152 are really good, really good already. 3,100 feet, that's incredible. And to get an extra 150 feet of range, that's incredible. That is really good range. So that's awesome. Also, you should notice that the gun on the Dornier way outperforms this gun in terms of damage per second. That's substantial. 140 to 210. That's what 70 extra damage per second. That is crazy good. 50% more. And the rate of fire, that's just because the rate of fire is increased by 50%. So that's why this plane is good. If you saw my TA-152 review, you really had to lead your target, and it's kind of like bang, 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 bang. That's how slow the guns fire. On this plane, that's not the case. They fire way faster. Alright, so that's the 30s. It's got a good 30. Just note that, because the TA-152 has great guns. The guns of the TA-152 perform very well, and to have that gun, but better statistics on this plane, that's saying something. Now, let's take a look at this plane, or these guns. So here's the one on the Dornier, here's the one on the bunch of other planes. As you can see, the damage per second is actually a little bit lower on the Dornier, but it's got a higher rate of fire. So it does less damage per hit, but it fires faster. And also the effective firing range is reduced. Substantially so. Like, this is 2,300 feet. And so that brings me to this point right now that I want to make. This plane, while it has a gun that can fire at 3,000 feet, you're not going to be doing a lot of damage at that distance, just because you've only got one gun that can fire that far. Your autocannons cannot go that far. And so this plane excels when you're shooting at 2,000 feet. That does not mean don't fire at 3,000 feet. It just means that you're only firing with one gun. So you really want to, if you're firing at that range, you're almost going to want to not try to fire just your autocannons, but rather get just your 30 to hit. So you're going to be playing it more like the TA-152, where you're leading your target and trying, like, just tapping your mouse button. You're not holding down the trigger, but you're rather just clicking it when your gun's reloaded and when you know you have the shot lined up. So that's a little bit weird, but I found success when I was doing that a little bit. So, you know, don't hold down the trigger at that range. But then when you get really close, once you get 2,000 feet from your target, and you start getting those 15s to work, that's when you start getting the damage. But the reason I compared it to the 209A is because it's got a very similar gun armament layout, because you have those two 15s and the 130. So, yeah, one big cannon, two smaller cannons. That's very similar. The speciality of these guns is they fire incredibly quickly. Your 30 is better than the 209As, but the 15s are worse than the 20s on the 209A. So, yeah, essentially it balances it out, but to have a really fast firing 30 mil, that's huge. That's really huge, and it makes this plane very versatile in terms of firepower. Alright, that was long-winded, but I think the guns are a little bit unique. They don't quite synergize very well in certain situations, and knowing that the 30 is the only gun that fires at those crazy long ranges is important. So as you can see, when you're looking at the effective firing range, it's mostly the maximum damage that you're going to be doing, outputting, is at less than 2,300 feet. So more like you want to be hitting your targets at about 2,000 feet. That's where you want, because then your 15s and your 30 are working. But when beyond that, from 3,200 feet, then that's where your cannon's hitting, but your 15s are not. And so, yes, you can hit stuff at that far, and you can do pretty substantial damage because the 30 is very powerful. You can't expect to be doing maximum damage at that distance. And then anything above that, up to 4,000 feet, that's kind of like, only expect to hit them if they're like 3 hit points and you just need a little tiny bit of damage. Maybe your 30 will hit them and do damage, but essentially you're not going to be doing you're not going to be doing damage past 3,200 feet. But that's a lot of range. 3,200 feet is not bad. You will be not having a problem hitting your targets at range, and that I've gotten called hacker for hitting planes that far away. So that's cool. The next point: good survivability, but large dimensions and vulnerable engines. Yeah, I mean, it's a heavy fighter, so you're going to have more survivability, whatever. And it is a large plane, but I don't think it's really that much bigger than other heavies at this tier. The only other only other heavy that I have at tier 8 right now is the 262, but we can look at that real quick. Let's see. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. That was substantial. I didn't realize it was that much bigger. But that was pretty significant. Oh boy, it's a big plane. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's a big plane. So yes, it's a big target, but it's okay. I mean, it's fine. It doesn't really bother me that much. Next one. High airspeed, long-lasting boost. There's the stats if you care. It's fast. Yes, I agree. It's fast. Effective in mid-altitude combat and destroying small amounts of ground targets. Because the 30 can do work. So yes, you can fire at ground targets. I have done it in certain situations, but you're not a ground pounder. Don't play it in the ground pounding role. You know, you're not supposed to be going down and just shooting armored targets all day. It's just no. Leave that to the GA and the bombers. However, if you noticed, this thing has 4 250 kilogram bombs. At least I think that's kilograms. I don't know. Probably kilograms. Now, this brings me to my next point. Let's go to the ME-329, which is the Tier 8 German ground pounder for Tier 8. And let's look at their bombs. So, the Dorniers is on right here, and these bombs are basically, it's on the Tier 8 German ground pounder, but it's on a bunch of other Tier 8 planes and just other German planes in general. They're very widely used. But as you can see, 5,000 damage, 246 blast radius. They are identical. They are the same bombs. But what I want to point out, look at that number right there. Now, let's go to the Dornier. Scroll, 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 scroll. Let's go to the Dornier. And look at that number. Yes, the Dornier. The Dornier 335 A1 P-file has twice as many bombs as a Tier 8 German ground pounder. Yes, friends. Yes, friends. That's awesome. So, yes, you can play the ground pounding role, which is the dumbest thing ever. You are... I don't know, this is weird. But the bombs, awesome feature. It makes this plane very versatile. You can go to sectors that normal heavy fighters, other than the British, because the British heavy fighters are really designed for it. But this plane works. And you know what the best part is? Not only does it have twice as many bombs as the Me-329, but the reload is not much more than the Me-329. So you have like a 55-second reload on your bombs, if that. And when you're flying around, that's nothing. That is absolutely no time at all. So these bombs are amazing. Keep that in mind as we continue. And yes, carry powerful bombs. Good enough. And the last point, you are a premium plane, so you are going to be making increased credit and experience income per battle. I think it's like a 25% bonus. I think. Don't quote me on that. But I think the premium account bonus is more than the premium plane. Might be 50%, but yeah. It doesn't specify, but it is increased. But how much has it been increased? Well, take a look right here. When I got this plane, I had 1,000 credits. Not even joking, it was 1,000 credits. Now I'm at almost 32 million credits. This is from playing for about 2 days. Just 2 days of playing. 32,000 credits. Or, not 1,000. 32 million credits. Million credits! And that was... I got that much credits from a couple of reasons. One, I got good scores quite frequently. Secondly, I had premium account because the 7 days premium that they gave out for free, I was lucky enough to get it. So I was making advantage of that. And then also, one other thing I want to point out that is awesome. If you are willing, I would almost swap out one of these consumables for... how did I get another one? Oh, I have another ground verification. But you get these ground verifications from like completing certain missions or whatever. So typically you'll have... I'm assuming you guys will probably have at least one, unless you guys use it as soon as you get them. But you'll probably have at least one in your storage. Don't ever sell them, because I think if you wait for Wargaming to give you a premium day, because you know they will eventually, and they give out premium days every now and then, save those for those days. Or if you just have premium account all the time, just stick one of these on as well, and you can make unbelievable amount of credits, and you will be seeing that in some of the gameplay that I do later. But we are not there yet. I just want to mention that this plane, its goal, because it's a premium, is to make cash, and this plane does very well at that. Ground verification, just keep that in mind, because it's awesome. And that leads me to equipment. Let's do equipment real quick. I'm going to show you my setup. But Catechus, if you guys know him at all, when he got this plane, he saw a different strength that this plane had, and he wanted to focus on that strength. Okay, I'm going to show you my preference first, and then I'm going to show you his, and then I'm going to show you whatever. Let's just do that. So my setup, because I love accuracy, I always put the gyroscopic gun sight on all my light fighters, my multi-rolls, and my heavy fighters. Despite the accuracy, I always do that. So gyroscopic gun sight, priority for me. That's no question, it always goes on. The second thing, however, I noticed this plane could have improved aircraft polish. And I think that might be a heavy fighter exclusive. I'm not positive. But the aircraft polish is actually really good on this plane. Like, exceptionally good. 5% maximum airspeed and 25% to the acceleration in a dive. So, keep this in mind, because you can actually, in order to escape your enemies, you can just point the nose down, hit the boost a little bit, take advantage of this, and you are gone. Like an arrow. Like an arrow. Also, I want to just kind of point something out. The 262 HG2 can also mount it, and I do have it on the 262 HG2. But this one is only 3% to maximum airspeed and 15% to acceleration in a dive. So it actually performs better on this plane. So I do recommend it. I think it's a great module because you're already so fast, and it does help a lot. Well, the last thing I did was reinforced airframe 2, because that reduces the chance of critical damage to engines, crew, and wings and tail, and just because that's awesome. I like a reduced chance of critical damage. And also 15% to HP, which gives this plane more versatility. And I like that. So yes, that's what I went for. For crew skills, I went with Marksman 1, Marksman 2, because Marksman 1 and 2, I always go for. I just do. You know, my light fighters, multi-role fighters, and heavy fighters. These are the twos that I go for. But then Catechus, I was going to do Engine Guru because Engine Guru is really good, right? This plane has exceptionally good airspeed and a good engine. So to enhance the engine a little bit more is really good. But then Catechus made a great point. You have 4 bombs. You have twice as many bombs as the German Tier 8 ground pounder. And that cannot be ignored. So he actually put Demolition Expert on his plane. And normally I don't do that. Normally that's not something I do on my heavy fighters. But this plane, it makes these bombs incredible. So yes, put Demolition Expert on. I highly recommend it. Whatever you do, whatever skills you want, put Demolition Expert on. That should be one of your highest priorities. It's really good. Really good. It increases damage caused by rockets and bombs, in this case just the bombs, and their blast radius by 15%. So, not as much as some other ones, but that's still good. It's nice. You'd be surprised at what you can accomplish. Alright. Now, so that's my setup. So I always go for accuracy. However, Catechus went for the engine upgrades. So he said, these guns are really accurate anyway. You're going to be hitting your target most of the time anyway, so there's no point in putting gyroscopic gun sight on. And so instead, he went with, if I remember correctly, Engine Tuning 3. He went with Engine Tuning 3, and he might have gone with Improved Flaps 3. As well, instead of this reinforced airframe. I could be wrong on that last one, but he did something with engine, which is fine, you know. And that just means that these equipment modules and stuff, I can show you what I like, but it's not the only way to do it. If you prefer airspeed and you think that you want to enhance that strength of the plane, then go ahead and do so. I always think it's more beneficial to put equipment modules and crew skills on that enhance the strengths of the plane rather than the weaknesses. Just because you, especially when it's percentages, if it's already a bad rating for like maneuverability, and you start trying to enhance the maneuverability, you're not going to be getting as much of an advantage unless the maneuverability is already really high, which is good. So when it comes to percentages, it's always nicer. You'll get more bang for your buck if you focus on the strength and enhancing the strengths of the plane. But do whatever you guys want. And with crew skills, he went with Engine Guru 1 and 2 and Demolition Expert instead of Marksman 1 and 2, which is fine, you know, whatever. But after that, with crew skills, you know, do whatever you want. It really doesn't matter. And with that, I think we are about done. I talked a lot. I also want to show, here's the special paint scheme for anyone that completes the Operation Westwall event and gets this plane from that event, whether they pay for it or do it for free. I did them all for free. I did not pay anything for this plane. But this is the paint scheme you get. You don't get to put your beta stickers on, but I had the St. Patrick's thing, and because of the issues that I was having trying to get this plane in the first place, I thought Luck of the Irish made sense. So, and also, no, I love this plane. I love this plane. As you can tell, I have a lot of markings on this plane already. A lot. If you go to my statistics for this plane, let's see. Come on, let's load. Alright. If we go to the Dornier, I've played 96 battles, and out of those 96 battles, 650 kills. That's just enemies. That's not air defense. That's not air defense kills. That's not bomber formations. That's good. And then ground targets destroyed 176. So if you look at Catechus's score with his Dornier, his is kind of reversed. He has a little bit more ground targets than kills, and he has a lot more assists than I do. A lot more assists, but. It just kind of shows that this plane can be played slightly differently depending on your play style, and you can still make out great on it. He loves his plane to death. I love my plane to death. But I have been talking for almost half an hour. This is ridiculous. Let's get into gameplay, please. Alright everyone, and welcome back to the gameplay. And this time, I'm playing with Catechus. So, taking the plane out for a whirl. Catechus and I, not to brag or anything, but this plane is amazing. Our win rate, I think, out of 30 battles that we played, we only lost 2 of them when we were playing together. That is incredible. That is a crazy win rate, and that's just because, I mean, I feel like we're both pretty good players. I do. I think we are on the higher end of player performance. Not the greatest, but we're not terrible either. And with that, coupled with the versatility of this plane, it can do anything you want it to. It's got amazing airspeed, amazing altitude performance. It's got twice as many bombs as a Tier 8 German ground pounder. I mean, this plane does whatever the heck you want it to. And that's why it's so awesome. The guns are good too. It's a little bit underpowered because it only has 3 guns. But, I mean, it's still really good. Alright, so we shut him down really quickly. This is Conquest, I believe. So, just normal standard mode. The 0 died, and you can tell when that 30 hits, because it's like it takes off a nice old chunk of the enemy hit points. We take the garrison because that's the reason we took the garrison first is because it's the furthest away from the enemy spawn, and so they're gonna really have to work for it to get that capture point. And so typically, as long as you do decently everywhere else, you're not going to lose that garrison, and it's just going to constantly feed you a little bit of points the whole battle. So I think that garrison's really important. Then we went for the airfield because it's the closest, and also because we can get repairs, we can spawn in the middle, which is amazing, and a bunch of other stuff. There's a couple people up in the factory, but right now I'm just farming damage. And I believe it's either this battle or the next replay where Catechus and I were doing so well. Our win streak was so ridiculous that we actually wanted to focus on our score rather than taking sectors. So we took the sectors that we needed to, and we just camped at one sector. We never really took any more sectors. And we got cocky, we got arrogant, and we farmed nice scores, and it was awesome. But that's just because this plane does everything you want it to. It's like, I feel like the Pancake is an amazing plane for the tier, but this plane competes with it. It puts the Pancake to the test. It really tries it hard. The Pancake is still a little bit more maneuverable. It can still climb just as easily, but you'd be shocked, and you would be stupid to say that the Pancake outperforms the Dornier. The Dornier and the Pancake are pretty much on par. They are very good planes. LA7, Catechus shuts them down. Dang it, Catechus, I wanted that kill. Don't take it from me. I'm kidding. He's down. Alright, let's take down this XP-58. So we start getting the target, and it doesn't always hit him hard, but I mean, it takes him out quick enough. I really did not like how the guns performed on the 209A, but because this 30mm fires so much faster than the 30mm on the 209A, it doesn't give it the same desyncing issue that the 209A had, where the guns just would not work together. You could either really focus on hitting with the 30, or you could really focus on trying to hit with the 20s, but you couldn't get both. This plane, I feel like the 15s and the 30 both work well together, and you can just hold down the trigger. Also, I want to point out one more thing. First of all, I'm firing gold in this battle. I'm sorry if that offends you or whatever, but if you completed the missions, Wargaming gave you 2 belts of gold ammo, and so I'm using it, whether you like it or not. So, gold ammo is being fired, but secondly, I want you to realize that the guns do not overheat very quickly at all. If you remember the TA-152, the 209A, the 30mm on that one overheats really quickly after you fire about 3 shots. You fire bang, bang, bang. Your guns are overheated and you can't hit anything more. That's not an issue with this plane. It takes forever to make the guns overheat, and that's just it's a great feature of this plane because it just makes those guns that much more versatile. You don't have to worry about them overheating as much. Once they do overheat, it takes a little while for them to cool down. It's not super fast, but it's not bad either. Catechus is yelling at me, "Hey, help me out! I've got a meteor chasing me." Okay, I'll come over, shoot him down. He's stalled out. So that happened. But anyway, back onto the ammunition. It doesn't overheat very quickly. And also, because this plane makes so much money per battle, you would have to really try to lose money in this plane, to lose money. So I recommend that you always fire universal ammo on this plane. I know you're trying to make credits, but you're only paying about 17,500 credits per game with universal ammo because you only have 3 guns, and that is super cheap. 17,500 credits per battle in a tier 8 plane, that's nothing. That is nothing, especially in a premium plane. So always run universal ammo on this plane. Don't feel bad about firing it. You will never have an issue with credits in this plane. So yes, fire universal. Now, XP58 is back, which is also, I feel like, a very, very good tier 8 heavy fighter, especially since it's got basically just as much firepower in its rear gunner as its frontal cannons. And so, don't get stuck behind the rear gunner. But that plane's down, which is good. This plane can compete with that plane very easily too. One other thing I want to mention, I mentioned it's got good airspeed and good altitude performance, but because you have both, because you're both fast and really good airspeed, or altitude performance, I've done it where I go from the deck all the way down at the bottom, all the way up to the top. So, from about this height that I'm at right now, all the way up to 14,500 feet, like it's nothing. And that's just amazing in this plane. That's awesome. So we got a whole bunch of planes lined up for us. So we shut a couple down, we spin around. Let's see if we can just find something else to shoot. You're not very maneuverable. In fact, you're not maneuverable at all. Don't try maneuvering that much, but so you're gonna have to kind of play the boom and zoom, but I don't really like calling it boom and zoom because it's not quite the same boom and zoom as pre 2.0, but whatever, it's boom and zoom. Battle's almost over. I got shot down, and it's squall line. So I'm out of the battle. But Catechus is still going to go win it for us. It was kind of a close game, but that's what we wanted. I got Winged Legend for 14,000 combat points. Tip of the Spear for 22,000 combat points as a flight. Lords of the Sky for 25 aerial targets, and Raptor Duo for 15 kills and 500 capture points as a flight. So that was a good game. Got ranked 1 on the team because, you know, we can't have Catechus beat us. That's not good. No, we got to beat Catechus. That's the requirement. I'm only kidding. Catechus knows that. But anyway. Let's load up, look at the post-battle results, and then I have 2 more games for you after this, just because I had so many good games on this plane. I really wanted to show you guys everything this plane has to offer. So, a Winged Legend nets us 450,000 credits, a little bit more than that, and we were firing gold. So, granted, this was the gold that Wargaming gave us. They gave us 2 ammunition belts of each gold ammo type for free, so I didn't have to pay for that at all. So that's just raw credits. It was really good. I was not running ground verification in this. This was just a premium account. So with a premium account, you're making 450,000 in that battle. Without a premium account, you're making 300,000, 250,000, somewhere in that range. It's a money printing machine. All right, enough talking. Move on to the second replay. Alright, and welcome back to the next replay. This time, I know for sure that we were just trying to go for score. I said, because the problem with this, with our setup, is that we kept taking sectors so quickly because we had 8 bombs between us, and we were shooting down planes like it was nothing. They couldn't keep sectors. So we kept winning by superiority. And when you win by superiority, you don't get a very good score. So we were having that issue where the games were just ending too fast. So this battle, we intentionally said, don't go for superiority. No. So normally we would have probably gone for command center then the airstrip, or maybe the garrison, then the factory. Either one would have been acceptable. I think the command center is the most important, and so because it's the most important, we're gonna go take it. So we want to hold the most important sector. We just don't want to hold all the sectors. So if you know what that means. So this time you get to see what the bombs can do. You drop 2 per heavy target, and these 2 bombs for some reason can't destroy that heavy center sector by itself. For some reason, like that one with the satellite dish on it or whatever. So at least that's what I noticed. It takes like 3 bombs, and even then you still have to shoot stuff. I don't really get it, but it can't destroy it. So that's why you saw me go for the other 2 spots as well. Just because they give you pretty good points toward the command center as well. But you can destroy them with your bombs in one go. I got a little bit unlucky with this one. The bombs didn't quite destroy it, but it's not hard. So this is a situation where it would be acceptable to shoot at ground targets, because it was just a little tiny bit left on that last ground target. So it's acceptable to fire at it, and it flipped the cap that way. So we're coming up. As you see, you have 30 seconds boost. I am going vertical, completely vertical. Head on with a 262, which is not that smart, because you could rocket at me, but he's a bot, he's an idiot, he's not going to do that. So I went head on with him anyway and came out better than him. You are a little bit more maneuverable than the 262, but I want to emphasize a little bit. It's just a little teeny tiny bit, but we'll try to outspin him. I think I called CAD. I said, hey, CAD, can you shoot this guy down for me? I can't quite get on him. Except that he's an idiot, and he straightened out for me just as Catechist came over. So, yep, thank you, Catechist. I appreciate it. Looked like he rammed him, and he might have rammed him, but he might have gotten lucky with the 30 mil as well and nailed him. I don't know. I feel like that was a ram. It seemed like a ram, but we'll see. F4U for Corsair down at the deck. As Catechist always says, the only thing worse than one of these planes is 2 of them. I feel like that's a pretty accurate description. This plane is really powerful, so the only thing worse than one of them is 2 of them. Yeah, makes sense. Yak, what is that? 3? Yak 3? He's chasing one of our air defense planes. Thank you very much. It's an easy kill. P-51D, easy head on, but didn't quite get the marking on him. Didn't quite line it up right, but he's basically dead. Got my distance, so I was safe enough to turn, but the Meteor got him, so nice job, Meteor. 262 is coming in to say hi again, so we'll say hi back. I have no problem saying hi back. Especially since he's, oh, thank you so much. You're straightening out for us. So, you know, use your sniper view, zoom in. You always use sniper view. I've heard some people say that they prefer not, but you will hit so many more shots if you use sniper mode. So, in order to make sure that those shots were hitting, especially when you have only 3 guns, and they're all right in the front. You have one in the front propeller that's spinning, and you have 2 right under the cockpit. And because they're right in front, like they're not on the wings or whatever, they fire pretty straight. They're already pretty accurate. That's why Catechist doesn't use accuracy buffs. But it works. We took the airfield, which is good. We want to make sure we still win. So as long as no one gets the factory, we're good. If someone does take the factory, we're gonna have to do something about it though. If we take it, whatever. But if the enemy team takes it, we'll have to do something about it because they'll get too many points. So it looks like I just noticed that. I'm like, hey, maybe we should at least prevent the enemies from taking it. We don't necessarily have to take it. Just don't let the enemies take it. That's the thing. So we're gonna come over, just because they'll get too many points if they have it. Come down. There's an A7M. Want to shoot him down first because I can deal with the attack aircraft all day long. I have no issue with it. I just don't want anyone to be maneuverable and get on me. So I want to take on the fighter first. There's still a meteor. CAD dealt with him. Thank you very much, CAD. I know I was great bait at that situation. So he was all yours. ME-265. Absolutely no problem shutting him down at all. No issue whatsoever. We take the factory, and our team hasn't lost anything else. So it's looking like this is going to be another whitewash, unfortunately. There's just not much we can do about it. So, as you can see, just defending sectors, like the most important sectors, your team will just automatically start getting everything else for you. So, that's just kind of the whole work with the bots, not against the bots situation. All they have left is the garrison. I told CAD, yes, we can win this really easy if we just go and take the garrison, but don't. I'm pretty low health, so I crash before squall line so I can respawn. Some disagree with it, but, you know, it's a valid tactic. I maybe necessarily wouldn't have to do that, but I did it anyway. CAD said he was going to do it, so I'm like, okay, sure, I'll do it with you. Alright, at this point, they have the command center, they have the airstrip, and they have more sectors than us. So, now, we got to actually take sectors. If we want to win this, and make sure that we win this, now we're forced to take sectors. Maybe I should have shot down the bomber formation right next to me, but I want to take the sector quickly. So I said I can get that later. Catechus will help me anyway, because he's right there with me. So almost shoot him down. There we go. I do get him. Awesome. Flip around. Now let's deal with the bomber formation. And we took the sector. I said, Catechus, you get the right side. I'll get the left side. It's the communication, the teamwork portion of this game that I love. So he's dealing with that side. I'm dealing with the other ones. As you can see, you can just tear apart bombers like it's nothing. Absolutely nothing. He's down. But we have someone on us, and so that's why I flipped around. That's situational awareness. Coming in handy. I'll let Catechus finish him off, but I want to make sure that our tail is defended. Shut down the A7M. Now we're going for the XP-58 because those things suck. I want to squall them. I really hate those planes. They're really annoying. Really annoying. So I want to shoot him down. Can't quite get him. Catechus, he's all yours. Please kill him for me. Thank you. Awesome. Yep, you got him. F4U4. Let's see if we can squall him. I miss. I have bombs. You only need one for the light target, so I drop only one. You only need one for the other light target, so let's drop one there. Turn around. Actually, I have a meteor on me, so don't turn around. Let's gain some distance from them. And now we'll flip around. Notice I flipped around vertically, not horizontally. And now we basically have superiority again because, yeah, it just isn't hard. This plane makes this game so easy. so easy sometimes. So let's go ahead and finish this game off. At this point, yep, that is the end of the battle. 15,700 combat points. But what's cool is Catechus and I both got Hero of the Sky. I've seen that done before, but it's very rare, and I thought that was pretty cool. And I was like, this was a cool moment to both have Hero of the Sky. I feel like that's a testament to the versatility of this plane and just what you can do in it. It really is that awesome, that fun. Also, if you noticed, I was ranked 1 again. I don't know what Catechus' issue is. I think he needs to step it up a little bit. You just gotta step it up. Yep, shots fired. Shots fired. We made 600, or not 600, 460,000 credits again, so not bad. The other Corsair did pretty well in the enemy team. Not that well, but he did pretty decent. And yes, on to the final replay, where it will demonstrate. The first two kind of showed what the plane could do. This last one takes it to a whole new level. The first two really showed off how two can work together and synergize well. And it does work very well if you have two of them together. But this last one's going to show the credit earning potential of this plane to its fullest extent. And also just like pushing the plane to its absolute limits. I hope you guys are ready for it. Let's move on. Alright, welcome back everyone to the final replay. Sorry if you kind of hear it in my voice a little bit, but I am a little bit sick still. Haven't totally gotten over it, and I think my voice is starting to go out by the end of this review. But we'll try to make it through the final replay. This time, unlike the previous ones, we are playing with Lee. Lee 57 King. He's really fun to play with, but he's not really playing a plane that he feels very comfortable in. So it's a pretty difficult plane to get high scores in for him so far. He hasn't quite figured it out. But he's not the only one that feels that way. I've heard a lot of other people say it's pretty difficult because it only has 2 guns. So, yeah. Let's move on to the replay. He's going to take the contest the airfield, and I'm going to try to contest this garrison, get our planes free and able to move on. I don't want our bots to get hung up there a little bit too long, so we free them. Now we're moving on into the center. There's a 190A8. He dodges me. There's Lee on the enemy team, the bot version. So let's shut him down. Another pancake. I hate pancakes. So see if we can deal with him. Don't ever try to outclimb a pancake. They don't get outdone. As good as this plane is at going vertical, pancakes will always win. So be careful. Took the airstrip, or not airstrip, airfield. So that's good. He wanted to ram me a little bit like an idiot, so sure, go ahead, ram my heavy fighter, see if I care. We light him on fire. As you can see, I'm using universal ammo in this battle, but also for this battle and this battle alone, I am using, or at least this replay alone, I'm using ground verification coupled with premium account. So I really wanted to show you the potential earnings if you're really trying to max out credit income as much as you possibly can. So yes, took the airfield, which is great. They keep coming in, and as you can see, I really can deal with fighters and light fighter or multi-rules and light fighters pretty easily. I mean, it's not terrible. Especially these FWs, I don't really fear them out-turning me that much. I mean, sure they will, but it's going to take them a while, and I can keep my guns on them for a long period of time. Also, I'm not hitting a whole lot of shots right now because I'm at 350 milliseconds of lag. So that's an issue. That's a real issue. But I'm not going to let it deter me. See if we can do it. Alright, I got a drink right next to me, so... Alright, pancake is down. And now we're going to move on to the next target, which is this poor, unfortunate 109Z. There we go. Finally got him. Yes. So I actually, I heard Catechist talking about how because you're so fast and you're not maneuverable anyway, you don't really rely on maneuverability that much. He took control surface adjustment off so that he could put on whatever the other one is, a fire extinguisher or a med kit or something else like that. Again, it's just showing you that there isn't one correct way to set up your plane in equipment or crew skills. It really just depends on what your personal preference is, and that's important. There's a whole lot of targets here, but you go after the ones that are flying away from you, that are not not maneuvering very much, and you shut them down first, which we did, which is great. Let's see if we can find someone else. The 198.8 is going to die as well. I can never remember if that's a tier 8 premium or a tier 7 premium. I think it's a tier 7 premium, but don't quote me on that. 209A. Shut him down because he was flying away. But I noticed, one, there's a lot of planes still over our airfield, and two, I've strayed too far away from our airfield. I got too close to their spawn point. So I go away from the spawn point, come back into the center here, and let's see if we can do some work. There's a 109Z again, so he's going to be easy prey. Awesome. 190A8, he's going to die very easily again for the third time. Almost crashed into our ally, but who cares? I get a little bit overconfident and I almost crash into the ground, but Lee kills that guy for me, so thank you, Lee. Didn't want him getting on my tail. Squall line in 30 seconds. But I feel like we've held this airfield very well. Very well indeed. And the A8 wants to get shot down again, so I must oblige. Oh, it looks like there's two of them. Looks like there's two different A8s. So, I guess I can't say I killed them that many times. There's a 209A again. There's a KI-84, which dies very easily. As you can see, they're all lined up for me again because, well, it just kind of happens. When they all decide to go in front of your guns, you're just like, thank you, I'll take it. So that's what we're doing. We're in squall line, so it's perfect shooting targets right now. Anyone that dies is done permanently, so shut them down. Let's take them all out. Oh, I got someone on me. One thing I've noticed is I really haven't shown the airspeed too much. So notice how quickly I'm getting away from these guys. It really is not hard. If you have someone on you, Catechus always tries to go in vertical and make them stall out so he can kill them. It never works out for me that well unless I'm already very high in the sky. So my personal preference is to take advantage of that equipment module that increases your acceleration that I have on this plane in a dive. So I just point the nose down and dive away. That's my method of escape, but you know, do what you feel works for you. It's another situation where personal preference, right? And situation, you know, if you're already really high in the sky, it does make sense to try to gain some air or altitude, because planes are going to stall very easily at that height. Pancake rams me like, okay, I'll ram you. I have an airfield, you don't. I flip around on him. Somehow oh, I thought I killed him. Well, I didn't kill him. There's only one plane left, so not a big deal. And I haven't really shown you from zero to hero, so I haven't really shown you from the deck all the way up to the top. But just know that, like, if you have a pretty good airspeed and you go vertical and you hold your boost, you don't lose airspeed, you just go vertical. Anyway, 21,500 personal points, Winged Legend, Tip of the Spear, Raptor Duo, and Unstoppable. A lot of awesome rewards, another great battle. But 21,500 with a pretty decent amount of awards. This will give you a lot of credits. By how much? How much is a lot? You shall find out. I was pretty blown away by the amount of credits I made in this battle. Do you understand I have ground verification on right now? But despite that, despite all of that, how much did we make? Yeah, that's a lot. So the potential of this plane, I feel like if you have a game that is really good, like 25,000 to like 28,000 combat points, which would be like next level crazy, and you're running ground verification and premium at that time, you could probably break 1,000,000 credits in a single battle. And that just shows you the awesome money making potential of this plane. And because it's so good, because it's so versatile, the bombs are amazing, the airspeed's amazing, altitude performance is amazing, the guns a little bit to be desired, but they're really good anyway. It's just, you can make it work. You can make so much credits. But with that being said, I hope you guys have a fantastic day. Please leave comments down below. Let me know how far you guys are in the missions. Let me know if there's any missions that you're struggling with, any tips and tricks you want from me. I'm willing to offer you some. It's worth it. If you're wondering, there's still 2 more weeks, 1 invasion, 1 attrition mode weekend. If you're close to getting it, try to get it. They're doing this thing where if you're in the top 100 by personal points gained throughout the weekend, you get certificates for free. So if you get really close, you just need a little bit more, get in the top 100, get your 15 tickets, go ahead and use it. But with that, do what you can to try to get this plane if you want it. If it's something that looks fun. I know not heavies are for everyone, but this plane's worth it. I recommend getting it. It's a lot of fun. Especially when you get two of them together, you can just tear house. And yes, thank you so much for watching. I will catch you next time.